Tonight's Chabura is Lili Nishmas and Chvoidi Lila of Reb Tzvi Ari Ben Tzion and Reb Yisrael Abba Rosenfeld, the father-in-law of Reb Nusa Maimon and Reb Chaim Kramer, and obviously he had a huge part in setting up Hasidus Breslov here in America.
So I would like to start with a bissel Perus L'Chochma. A while ago, while saying Shir Hashirim, I noticed an interessante Remes. It's a pusik, a very beautiful pusik, a very touching pusik that says Samchini Bashishis. This is the Neshama talking to Hashem, and the Neshama obviously feels that it's a tremendous yearning to Hashem. And it says to the Eibishter, Samchini Bashishis Raptini Batapichim. In the olden days, when a person was sick, they put these glasses on him and they surrounded him with apples because the good smell of apples would give him strength. Ki choyles ahava uni. Now, if you notice, the Rosh Tevis of this pasuk is Samach Beis Reish Beis, which is almost spells the word Breslov. Okay, it's just missing the lamed. Now the next four words of the pasuk says Ki Choylas Ahava Oni. It's Chav Ches, it's 28, and Ahava Oni is 2 alephes. It's Gematria Lamed. It's the exact Gematria of Breslov. So why doesn't the pasuk end with a lamed? Because the main 2 eitzes of the Rebbe was Ayei and Azamra. Reb Nosson, many times in LIKUTEY calls it the 2 alfin. Speaks about Tchum Shabbos is the Alpayim Amma. 2 elefs are Alpayim. So he says that's the inyan. The Tchum of Kedusha, the border of Kedusha is the eitz of Ayei and the eitz of Azamra. So Ki Chodesh Ahavoni is the Rosh Tevis of Koyach Ayei Azamra. It's the koich of these 2 eitzes. That's what Breslov was all about. So we already learned, we started learning about Azamra, and now we're doing a little bit, going into the eitz of Ayei, and I'm told that these 2 eitzes complement each other and they work together, but we're going to do them each separately first and then bring them together. But we see in the context of the pusik that it's an inyan of a refuah. Now, a refuah, in the Gashmizdika sense, a refuah is a b'diavad thing, right? Like at Chila, we want to be proactive, we want to be healthy, and we'll do exercise, and we'll eat well, and we'll sleep enough so that we don't have to get sick. I've seen a letter from one of the Breslov Hasidim. And he says the Rebbe was against going to the doctor, so you have an extra mitzvah not to get sick, because once you get sick, it's a big nesayah not to go to a doctor. But you have to do whatever you can not to get sick, so you shouldn't have to go to a doctor. But of course, every Yid has the tremendous mitzvah of Ishmatim Nafshi not to have to go to a doctor. Why? Because a doctor is very big suffix. It's a very big suffix. Maybe nowadays they're better than the doctors from the olden days, but it's a very big suffix that you'll get a refuah, especially if a person is seriously ill. It's a very big suffix. It's a very big b'diavad to go to a doctor. And even if he gives you a refuah, you don't know, something else might go wrong. You know, there's side effects and all that. But that's begashmias. But in ruchnias, the concept of refuah is mamish fakert. The concept of refuah is that before, when the person was, so to speak, healthy and spiritually healthy, he couldn't attain certain levels that only if he falls, only if he trips up, and then he gets that tikkun, then he can go that extra mile. It's the concept what the Rebbe speaks about in the Torah of Yerida is tachlus. It's not soyrech aliyah, it's tachlus aliyah. The person could get to places where he could have never ever gone to without that yerida. There's this concept of b'makom shebal tshuva oimdim ein tzadikin gemuri cholam lamud. It's the same concept that in Ruchnius, where the inyan of refuah is that what you couldn't get beforehand, only now you can attain it because you have to get that tikkun, you have to get that refuah. The Interessante, I once read, there's a book from Marcus Lehman where he speaks about this very, very big tzaddik, Yosselman from Rosheim. Very, very interesting books, two books. And it's a historical novel, but it's very, very well written and based on strong historical facts. So he writes there that he once had to go to Spain, and in his time there was a ban. No Jew was allowed to be in Spain, and if a Jew was caught in Spain, he would be burnt at the stake. So he had to be there on a shlichus, on a skonus, and he had to speak to King Charles, who was then the Emperor of Spain. So he stayed by the home of a Marano, and one of the children was Pesach, and it was the Seder, and one of the children asked, why do we have to thank Hashem for Yetzias Mitzrayim if Hashem was the one that put us into Mitzrayim in the first place? So, great question. So he answered a brilliant, brilliant teretz, and this is Mamash's concept. He said, when two people fight, and someone hits one of them hits the other and breaks his arm, and the guy falls to the floor and he's writhing in pain, and he says, oh, I'm sorry I did this to you, I'm a doctor, I could heal you, I'll fix it. And he wraps it up and he puts it in takast and he heals the arm. He doesn't have to thank him for doing that, because he's the one that broke his arm. But what happens if a cripple comes to a doctor and he says, I was born a cripple, can you heal me? And the doctor says, I could, but it's a painful process. I'm going to have to twist some ligaments and bones and take them out of the sockets and put them back. It's a whole thing. So he goes and he takes them apart and puts them back again. Then he has to thank him not only for fixing them, but also for the whole process, for the whole operation, because the whole operation was there to fix him up. He said Hashem had to bring Nishmas Yisrael, Am Yisrael, into creation, and that could only have been by bringing Klal Yisrael, being born in the Kura Barzal of Mitzrayim. Only then can a nation, Am Hashem, could come out from such a matzav. So he said, of course, without Mitzrayim, there would not have been Am Yisrael. So we have to thank Hashem not only for taking us out of Mitzrayim, but for putting us in Mitzrayim, because through that we were zoicha to become who we are. So this is the concept of refuah and kedusha, that it's mamish the opposite of what it is in Gashmias, is that refuah is the inyan that it brings us. We have to go through the inyan of chayla to be a chayla, so that we can be zoicha to get that refuah, which is so much more higher than the madrega that we were before. Now, I want to say another little remez. First of all, we know that Breslov is begematria Nachman and Feg if you spell Feg with an aleph. But if you spell Nachman and Feg with a hey, someone told me last night, I forgot his name, darkish fellow, the skinny guy with all the gematrias.
Oh, Reb Dovid Friedman.
Dovid Friedman.
He actually apologizes that he's not here. He's in Borough Park.
So I'm going to say
message
something.
to you, he would have come.
I'm going to say something in his name.
Shine.
And he said, Ayei, and the Torah of Azamra, which is Reish Pei Beis, Ayei plus Reish Pei Beis, is Begematria Nachman Befeg if you spell Feg with a hey at the end. And the Refuah is also Begematria if you take the word Refuah with the letters, and the Koil is also Gematria Ayei Reish Pei Beis, Nachman Befeg, because the Rebbe is the greatest doctor. We call the Rebbe the big doctor. He was the big Reif in the Fushers, that not only did he heal us, but he brought us to the concept of refuah, which is a very, very hoiche madreg, the inyan of Yerida Tachlis Goaliyah. So we're going to go into the Torah Bissel, and let's see if we could say Episa Ebes Medish Beloy Chiddish. Kishu Udam Hoylach Acher Sichla V'Chachmusa Yuchel Lipoil betuisim imchshoilis rabim. If a person goes after his seichel, after his wisdom, after his chachma, he can fall into make big mistakes, and he could trip up, and he can come to chas v'sholom to really bad things. There were those that were mekalkol a lot. Like the very great Rishon, that not only did they fall into tremendous mistakes and they really veered off the true path, but they schlepped with them, they dragged along the masses together with them and pulled them down with them into the Shoel Tachtis. And the Santa Zach, we see it in many different Torahs where B'nei Bay, meaning within the context of the mistake of the mahalach, of the shita of these people that went off the way, that did the wrong thing, is we see how wrong they are, and we see the paradox of how they led their lives. Now what's the big problem with sichla and chachmasa? The big problem is, of course, every person has to use a seichel, because if a person is not going to use a seichel, then he can end up doing terrible things too. You have to use your seichel. But when a person thinks that my seichel is it, I'm not open to hearing someone else's opinion because I'm smarter than everybody and I'm better than everyone. That's the big problem. We see also in the story of the Chacham Tam, where the Rebbe speaks about Chachma and Tmimus, is the Rebbe says there that the Chacham became so smart that everybody was like nothing to him in his eyes. Nobody was chashiv or important enough to listen to. So this is the real problem of course we have to use our seichel, and we use our seichel even to understand this Torah, we use our seichel. But we always know that we can't rely completely on our seichel. We have to always listen to someone else, even to a chaver. We listen so that we could, maybe he has a point. Maybe he's right. Maybe I'm making a mistake. And of course, when it comes to Gedolim, Rabbanim, and Talmid Chachamim, and Tzadikim, of course we have to be mevatel our seichel and to be makabel from them. Now these Rishon, they thought that their mahalach, their gang, their shita, that's it. Nobody can tell us otherwise. But at the same time, they went and they convinced others to listen to them. Well, maybe, just like you believe that your seichel is what's kaveya, someone else's seichel should be kaveya for them. What are you convincing and dragging other people along with you? So we see here the paradox of how these people think. Also, Reb Nosson speaks about the inyan of Chachma and Tamimus. Is one of the inyanim that is very important. It's a big ingredient in this part of the Torah. Is that the Chacham is always trying to understand things that he cannot really understand. He always wants to understand something that's beyond his level. And if he can't understand it, then he says that it doesn't exist. It's not, because I can't understand it. And we know that everything in life, if a person would be chayker, would investigate every single thing in his life before he eats it or utilizes it or does anything with it, because he has to understand how it works and have to make sure that it's really legitimate, he wouldn't be able to live. He had to exist in this world. You have to be able to rely on other people. Even the fact that the pickle is not laced with poison is also, we're relying that that the companies are careful and they make sure that their food is okay. It happens once in a while that a person can get sick from eating something, but most of the time it's not. So this same chacham, that nobody can tell him anything, and he has to understand those things, it's interesting. But all the rest of the things that you rely on others, that's okay. Only these things where it's negeya where you have your Yetzer Hara, where you have your things that your ulterior motives, why you want to do this. This you have to understand, and if you don't understand, then it's okay. Then you don't have to do it, right? So that's again the stira B'nai Bay by these people that go after sichla v'chachmasa and don't rely on tamimus. And really, when it comes to the big decisions in life, the most important decision in life of how to lead my life and what to believe and how and who to serve and who to have a relationship with and all these things, we shouldn't rely on ourselves, because we have to be careful. These are very, very important decisions, and maybe I'm negaya b'tova, maybe I'm making the wrong decision. I should ask someone else. I should talk it over and see, maybe I could use some advice over here. But the other things, it's gefährlich, so I won't eat the pickle. It's okay, right? But of course, the Yetzer Hara wants that you should always be wary when it comes to the important things, and avada, he'll schlep you down to a place where you don't want to be. The Ikar Yahadis, Hirak Leilach Betmimis Pshitas, Belishim Chachmas. So here the Rebbe explains, what does it mean to go between the pshitas, right? Someone once said, Reb Nosson Leibovich once gave a dogma of between the pshitas, but it's silly. So the Rebbe said once that every person should have a horse and wagon so that he can go to the feld, to go to the forest to do his boidus. If he has a mode of transportation, it's easier. So someone in B'nai Brak into Santa Fellow, he got himself a horse, you know. He says today you can go with a bike, you can go with a car, but you don't need a Tamimis Pshitas. The Rebbe said a horse, you have to do a horse, right? So the Rebbe says here where the dogish, where the emphasis should be on the Tamimis Pshitas, and the emphasis of Tamimis Pshitas is that when a person wants to do something or decide something that's really important, he has to, the deciding factor should be if Hashem's covered, this is going to be a cover for Hashem. And that's the tamimus that he should have. Is this what Hashem wants for me? I'll do it. And if not, not. Now, of course, there's many, many, many levels in that. And halavai, we should be on that level that it should be as simple as this. It's that this is the deciding factor all the time, that I want to do what the Ratzon Hashem is. But al kapanim, this is the definition of Tmimis Pshitas. The definition of Tmimis Pshitas is that wherever I do, is I ask myself, is this going to be a covet for Hashem or not? And then, if a person does that, and then the Rebbe gives here a promise. Then he will never ever falter, he'll never make a mistake. If this is, because even others say that even if he does do a mistake, Hashem will eventually bring him around, and the mistake will, like the Rebbe says later, the mistake will lead him to very great things. It will be Yuri the Tachas Aliyah. But the Tanayan, that the condition is that you have to be very, very connected to the concept that I want to do the Ratzon Hashem. Now, even us regular people, right? This is a very, very, very high level that a person should always only do the Ratzon Hashem, but at least we want to do the Ratzon Hashem. We should be working on that. And there's an interesting Torah that someone asked the Rebbe about Bechira. What is Bechira? What is this Bechira? Oh, thank you for doing it. Can I borrow it for a second? Sure. So someone asked the Rebbe, what is Bechira? So the Rebbe said, such a simple answer, but it's really a very hard answer to accept. As a person asked the Rebbe, Keitzad HaBechira. Let's see if I can find it quickly. Nin Dalet. In the zweite Chelik. Torah Nin Dalet. Habechir biyadon lasis kertzoyne. Ve'apilu kol advarim hakol biyad ish yisraelu nestak hakol kertzoyne kebchirose. Ki biyad Yisrael yesh bechira biyudam al kol davish ba'olam ki eitzel acheim yesh dvurim. Nope. No, there was someone that here. So he answered, how's it here? Im ataroitza oisa, im ataeina oisa, ein oisa. It's basically these words, but in a different, differently phrased. Im ataroitza oisa, im ataeina oisa, ein oisa. So of course everybody asks, hey, what do you mean? I want to be erlich yid, and I want to be heilig yid, and I want to be, my eyes should be kaddish, and my mind should be kaddish, and I should want to sit and learn all day, and I can't. It's just not, doesn't work. I tried many times, and it doesn't work. What do you mean? So heard in the name of Reb Shalom Arush, he said that the emphasis has to be on the roitza. Says if you have the true ratzon, the true will to do it, then you'll be able to do what you want to do and not do what you don't want to do. But the reason why we can't is because our ratzon is not yet developed, and we have to work on that ratzon to get to the point where it's so powerful. The ratzon of a person is so powerful that when he wants to do something, he can do it, and when he doesn't want to do something, he won't do it. So how do we work on that ratzon? Of course, with tefillah, I have to ask Hashem to help us reach that level that our ratzon should be the richtige ratzon. The same thing is here.
That itself probably requires some level of ratzon too.
Right, but again, we start from wherever we are, and we start wanting, and we start asking for it, and we start thinking about it, and slowly but surely we build ourselves up to the next level, and then to the next level until we get to the point where matter it's a place. I give a pashto mashal. Let's say a person that was not religious, and it's very hard for him to keep Shabbos. So we tell him, well, if you want to keep Shabbos, then you can keep it. And he says, it's not so simple. I try. It's just so hard. I have to get the smoke after my phone. It's just impossible. And by us, it's second nature, right? We can keep Shabbos, not a problem. No nesayin to be machal Shabbos. So we see that we can see from this that we can understand this concept that, yeah, we developed from birth, from chinuch, from all that, a very strong ratzon to keep Shabbos, so it doesn't even dawn on us to be machal Shabbos for those things. But other people that didn't grow up with it, they struggle with it. And the same thing is for us, on our level, the higher level of Kedusha could also be developed and be attained. And the same thing is the Gaba the Inyan from Taninas. The Taninas is such a big madrega, but now that we know the definition of Taninas, the definition of Taninas is that if whatever is Ratzon Hashem, this is what I want to do, and this is going to bring a covenant for Hashem, this is what I want to do, and what's not, I don't want to do. And that's living with Tanimas, and a person could develop slowly but surely, one tiny step at a time, till he reaches a level of this Tanimas. Now there's going to be another aspect of this, what the Rebbe is going to speak about this inyan. If he falls in an inyan of he has sveikis, he has doubts. Is Hashem good? Look at all these tragedies. Is there Hashem? Is there not? These type of questions sometimes enter the person's mind. Even though this is such a terrible nefila, because he falls to such a deep place, we can have a kasha on Hashem. The Yerida is tachlis aliyah. There's always a place where that thing could turn around and make a 360-degree turn, and it should become a complete aliyah, a tachlis aliyah. So this is a bit on arichas. I just want to say this inyan, that we spoke about tamimus before the person falls, right? So before a person falls, yeah, you can say tamimus, yeah, whatever I do is what Hashem wants, whatever I don't do, whatever is not covered Hashem, I'm not going to do. That's it. But what happens when I fall? Where can I have tamimus? I'm already completely not with Ratzon Hashem. I don't see Hashem in my matzah. I don't see Hashem. Can I still be a tamim with Hashem? Tamim tia im Hashem alekecha. Im Hashem alekecha. One of the taiches is what we said now, is that the tamim, because of his tamimus, he's im Hashem alekecha. He's always with Hashem. Can I be now with Hashem? And the Rebbe is being megala that the tamimus, this hoicha madrega of tamimus, is such a high madrega that it could go with a person no matter how low. He goes, this is a recurrent concept in the LIKUTEY MOHARAN, that the higher the madrega of kedusha, the lower it could go, but it's hidden. But it
the
can.
bigger they get, the harder they fall.
No, that's something. The higher you go, the harder you fall.
The bigger they get, the
that's a different concept. Yeah. That could also be other. The higher a person is, the lower you can fall in the thing. But we're talking about a different thing. The higher the kedusha is, the more the kedusha has a koyach to go with the person, no matter how low he is, and to help him out and get him out from that place. And this is what the Rebbe says.
Say that one again.
That the higher the kedusha is, the higher the level of kedusha is, the lower that kedusha could go. Like the Rebbe says, there's 10 levels of kavod, and those 10 levels of kavod cannot go in the places where the sitra acher is. I will not let my kavod go to the mekoymes, to the places that are called acher, lekim acherim, avodah zara, mekoymes mitanofim. I can't let my kavod go there. But there's a very high kavod that's called bereshis, that's called mamer asasum, which is a very, very, very high level, much higher than the 10 levels of kavod that we spoke about, and that does go into the places of hastara. It's completely hidden from Hashem, and that with that kedusha, a person could connect to that through the Vayeitzey of Ayei, and not only go out of the rut, but completely be mahapach, make a flip, and make that whole Yerida to be tachlos aliyah. So the inyan of tamimus is such a high kedusha that the tamimus could be malava, the person could go together with that person, and even in this low level madrega, he could also have a tamimus. So what's the tamimus in this low level? The tamimus in this low level is to search for Hashem. Just like before, I said, before I fell, the question was, is this the Ratzon Hashem? Then I'll do it. If this is not the Ratzon Hashem, I won't do it. When a person falls to the mekoymes and metanofim, to the really low levels, the question is, Hashem, I want to be with you. I want to be Tamim Hashem alekecha. But over here, I don't see you. You're hidden. So I'm searching for you. And I'm asking Hashem, Ayei mekoyim kavoda, where are you? That's the tamimus that a person has to have. Why? Because a chacham will say, what do you mean? There's no Hashem over here. There's nothing here. This is tumah. This is gefährlich. There's no HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But the Talmud says it can't be. It must be that Hashem is here. And that's why it forces him to search for Hashem. It must be. Where do we see a dogma, an example of this? It's the Sheni L'Melech. He was searching for the Bas Melech, right? And she was kidnapped, and we don't know where she is. And she left him a message that she's going to be on the Golden Mountain, and the Pearl Palace on top of the Golden Mountain. And he met these three very great people. One was the Mamuna on all the on all the chayis, one was the Mamuna on all the oifis, and the other one was the Mamuna in charge of all the winds, ruchos. And of course, these were very, very great people that they had this this responsibility, and they all told him that you were told a foolish thing. You were fooled. You were told something that doesn't exist. It does not exist. And they asked all the chayas to go and look, and all the oifis and all the birds went flying all over. No such thing. And all the winds, no such thing. And this Sheni Lamelech, he had such a tamimus that he says it must be. I'm not going to accept no for an answer. And he persevered, and he held very strong with this belief until there was one wind that came after all the winds said that there's no such thing. He says, I just took, where were you? Why did you come so late? The Mamuna asked him. He said, well, I was busy. I had a job. I had to take someone somewhere. He says, who, what? He says, I had to take the Bas Melech to the palace manor of Pearl on top of the Golden Mountain. So I couldn't be here on time. He says, what? Such a place exists? So he says, yeah, I was just there. I just took her there. So we see that the inyan of Tamimas is this, the strength that a person, the akshunas, how do you say akshunas? The stubbornness that a person could create in himself to hold steadfast, that I don't care where I am, and I don't care if I don't see Hashem, but Hashem must be here, and Hashem, you have to reveal yourself to me. And that is Megal, that's Ma'or, that shakes the very, very high Kedusha of Ayei and elevates this place that he is to such a place where the Yerida becomes Tachlis, it becomes the highest Madrega because of this.
That's what?
Because of this, because of his Tamimus, that he did not want to give up on believing that Hashem is here with me, even though he can't see Hashem. So this brings us to our galus over here after so many thousands of years. Now, there was a rabbi that was giving a lesson in a seminary, and he was teaching the students over there about Mashiach and about Amunah, about Animams, the 13 Animams. One of the Animams is Animamim be'Amunah Shalema, be'Vias HaMashiach. But it's, the Rambam doesn't finish over there. He says, Ba'afal pi she'ismam, even though Mashiach is taking very long to come, he's thousands of years, he's not here. Im kol zachakulu. Despite that, I hope, I yearn, I wait for him, I yearn for him, that any day that he should come. So one of the students asked, so what happens? Does that mean that I have to believe that Mashiach is coming today? Because I don't really believe that. I don't really believe that he's coming. It's 2,000, more than 2,000 years, he didn't come. I should believe, what's today different than yesterday? I have to believe. So he asked, well, do you believe in Mashiach? So she said, yes, I believe in Mashiach, but I find it hard to believe that Mashiach will come today. So what does it mean? So he said that, no, you don't have to believe that he's coming today. That he's coming today. You just have to believe that he's coming. That's the ikr. That's the yesod of this piece of the Rambam. But a person that believes in Mashiach and the concept of Mashiach, of course, hopes with all his heart and yearns with all his heart that he should come today, right? It's like when a child is supposed to get a gift. I know one of my daughters is waiting for an order that we ordered, right? So every day, did you track it? Is it coming? It's taking already 7 days. Where is it? What? Right? So she didn't come and say, well, if it didn't come for 7 days, it's not coming. Forget it. It's not. No. Because she knows she wants it to come. Right? So the imkol zeh b'chol mishiyove means that because I have such a yearning to it, I hope every day, I hope that today is going to be the day, the beautiful day that Mashiach is going to come.
I am celebrating Mashiach.
So this is really the concept of the tamimis of this person, is that the tamim, because the tamim has such a yearning to Hashem and to be with Hashem and to live with Hashem. This tamim that used to ask every day, if I do this is covered Hashem, then I'll do it. And if it's not, I won't do it. What does that mean? It's because he yearns and his whole being wants to do only Ratzon, wants to have only covered Hashem. That same tamim, when he falls to a place where he can't see Hashem, is going to hope and want with all his heart to reveal Hashem. Hashem, you must reveal yourself to me over here. And if anybody's going to come tell him no, there's no Hashem over here, he'll say, I don't take that for an answer. Because I must have Hashem. I must live with Hashem. And I'm going to search for him until I find him. And that's the Ayei of Ayei. The Ayei of Ayei is born from the tamimis of the person who always wanted to do the Ratzon Hashem. Now he's in a place where he doesn't see Hashem, so he's searching for him with all his heart. And he cries out, Ayei, 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 where are you, Hashem? Where are you, Hashem? Until he finally finds it. So I should help that we should all be zoicha, and no matter what madrega we are, and no matter what situation, matzah, tzias, whatever it is, we should always search for Hashem, and then we have the promise of the Rebbe that we will find Hashem. And not only will we find Hashem, but we will elevate all those places where we fell to such a place that we could have never ever reached that madrega, that level, if we wouldn't have fallen to that place. I should help, we should all be zoicha.
Yes, beautiful. How did you learn by Felix Shanoifa Chasashulam? Is it that person that's taka always?
It's the person that always wants this.
Not the person that's going achasichle, right?
Right.
He's the one that's going between us yeshitas,
Well, the
and
person
even
that's going
him
achasichle
is a Felix Shanoifa.
Right.
So I'm saying when the Rebbe says that as bavade lo yakusha leolam.
Weet kooit me net aan graag met dat zaak van dem is een geval. Ik zeg gewoon naar dem gaan. Ik het weer naar binnen. Ik kan start now going.
Shabbos the Rebbe says lo yakusha leolam. So leolam. He can mean that Kaimon is found, or he won't fall for eternity.
He's right. It could be, but really, sach schwer. So there was, and really, Emerson, the union of Ayei, a person can have certain hours of the day where he's in Bechula Kiloim Mekubli, and some hours of the day where he's in Ayei, in the Kaimus and Matinofim, or even certain midas and tavis, that certain things are under control where he does that, certain things he can't yet. So that same person, if in other things he trains his own. Just because I do this doesn't mean that I have to be a Russia all over the place. I could be a tzaddik here and struggle here, right? If he tries in the other mechoimis to do what's the Ratzon Hashem, he'll be able to search with much more stubbornness in the places where he struggles to search out for HaKadosh Baruch Hu and to be mahapach in the Ayei of Ayei.
So you're saying what you're saying Pshat Kabi is the Kushal Olam in that area where he's taka already in a place of Tmimis and Pshitas, and he's the place where
no,
Koich Shemayim.
Kushal Olam, the Rebbe says that if a person no matter what, because even in the places where he's struggling, he'll ultimately come to the Ayei of Ayei, because he needs a Shem.
So then you have to learn the Pshat like Kushal Oila means that he won't be Nichsefo for eternity. That eventually, because you can say like Kushal Oila means he'll never stumble, or it means like Kushal Oila that he won't be Nichsefo forever. That eventually,
exactly. But by the touch much as an emes, because there are people that were zoicha that didn't have to go through the Mekayim Santanot. And they were loyal Krish Loyal because they were the famous. But by other people, we have to touch that it won't be forever. You will eventually have to be mahabah the zach. But about it starts with the Nikida. As if that's
this question. This is the first time. Yeah.
This is the zach. How much do you need Hashem? If you need Hashem a lot, and you won't fall for that thing, oh, Hashem is not here. It's no such thing. What do you mean? I can't exist without Hashem. It's like the fox that told the fish, come over here, I'll protect you from the nets, from the fishermen. It's as if on the earth, you can't exist at all. Don't tell me that there's no Hashem over here. The Vayeitzey says, oh, there's no Hashem, you can do whatever you want. Says, whatever I want, we'll discuss that in a minute. But there's no Hashem here that I cannot take, no matter what. That's a besondere Pascha, aber das ist die Wilsmer sagen, dass ich kein Team, was ich will, weil es nicht nur der Eibischte, that I cannot accept at all. Ich kann nicht existieren, I can't breathe without, spiritually, without knowing that Hashem is here. And eventually that person will search for Hashem because he needs him. He needs him, he wants him so badly that he is going to scream Ayei.
What's the Mitzrayim you say as like a doctor, you know, like what was my first Chabura when we were macht as Sionim Mitzrayim. What was Chabura?
Sheikh Nisuri.
Yeah, that's
Weil the Schleimus is gewesen, in a process, and the Schleimus is going by Yitzias Mitzrayim. That's cool, but the
finished off by Yitzias Mitzrayim.
Finished off. It's a rather, but the carbon toider steht, dass wir bringen kommen zur Matze wegen dem, weil man dankt nicht nur für die Yeshir, but also for that. But mit Dank, noch dem, was man die Yeshir, und damals kann man zurückkicken und sehen, dass die ganze Sache ist auch gewesen.
Du sagst schon, you know, mit Sam, darf man es sehen,
exactly.
Then you went in also.
Yeah, exactly. Wenn wir suchen, bei Eisen müssen Hassaye, ja, können wir ja nicht sagen, so du Menschen suchen es mit der Eiche tun. Ja, it's not. Ja, this we were Zeucher to go to Mitzrayim to be Zeucher to become Amis.
He was saying. He said that he called them the two alphas. So these two lessons are major lessons, utmost importance in life. Zamra and Ayei. Zamra is to always find good points. And Ayei is to connect you with